Hi there, my name is Amanda Beck, and I'm a registered dietitian in the Cardiac Rehab program at the Heart Institute. And I'm here today to talk to you a bit about nutrition in perimenopause and menopause. During today's presentation, we will first dive into some heart-healthy eating and talk about some nutrition basics, including carbohydrates, protein, and fat. We will then explore recommendations for calcium and vitamin D, as well as soy and flax. We will also look at some common digestive issues and weight gain. So there can be so much confusion around nutrition, eating, and all of those fad diets out there. We have information at our fingertips online and through friends and family. So that's our goal today, is really just clarifying what the current evidence is as related to cardiovascular disease guidelines and how we can reduce risk of cardiac events and improve health. Research has shown that increasing or decreasing certain foods in our diet can directly impact heart disease risk. So this means reducing our bad cholesterol, lowering blood pressure, and decreasing your risk of cardiovascular events. So firstly, incorporating a variety of fruits and vegetables at every meal can significantly improve cardiovascular health and reduce the risk of heart disease. Whether you choose fresh, frozen, or seasonal fruits and vegetables, they are nutritionally the same, so you are getting the same benefit. And if you're including canned vegetables in your diet, just be sure to rinse these before consumption or buy the lower sodium vegetables. Now, carbohydrates are essential macronutrients that, when broken down, provide our body with energy. Carbohydrates can be found in a variety of foods, such as our grain products. And when it comes to heart health, research has shown that eating whole grains more often can help to keep you feeling fuller for longer, keep your microbiome healthy, and can also help to reduce your LDL cholesterol. In particular, foods such as barley, oatmeal, and psyllium. Sources of whole grains include brown or wild rice, bread and pasta with whole grain flours, quinoa, oatmeal, barley, and bulgur. And whole grains provide us with great sources of fiber, which can help to keep you regular, lower your cholesterol, and control your blood sugars. So sugar is a type of carbohydrate, and there are two types. There's intrinsic sugar and added sugar. Both sugars can influence your health. So intrinsic sugars are the sugars that are found in foods. So sugars that are found already in fruits, vegetables, and dairy. And so these intrinsic sugars are not harmful to your health because they are packaged with other good things such as fiber, vitamins, and minerals, etc. So there's no need to avoid these foods that have those intrinsic sugars. Free sugars or added sugars, on the other hand, include anything that's been added to food. So, our brown, white, honey, maple syrup, juice or pop, any sugar that is added to your food. And we see that high intakes of free sugars may increase risks of developing cardiovascular disease and diabetes. The World Health Organization guidelines suggest that added sugars should be limited to 6 to 12 teaspoons per day. Shifting gears to our next macronutrient, protein. So we want to include lean sources of protein, such as chicken, fish, lean cuts of pork, or plant-based proteins. Fish is recommended to include at least twice weekly. Research has shown that when included, whether it's frozen fish or fresh or canned, fish can significantly lower the risk of having a heart event. And so beyond omega-3 fatty acids, fish also contain high-quality protein and a whole package of vitamins and minerals. We have seen in the research that omega-3 supplements do not have the same benefit as eating fish twice a week. And so the best way to get our omega-3s is to eat whole foods like fatty fish, nuts, and seeds. Including legumes, such as beans, chickpeas, lentils, nuts, and seeds more often, has been shown to lower blood pressure and our LDL cholesterol, which I'll be referring to this a lot. It's considered like our bad cholesterol. And so you don't need to become a vegetarian or vegan, but you do want to start eating more plant-based proteins because, again, there are benefits of lowering blood pressure and LDL cholesterol. This can be as simple as adding legumes to chilies or stews, roasting or air frying seasoned chickpeas, or even blending beans into a cream soup. So another macronutrient of importance for the heart and overall health is fat. And fat plays many roles in our body, and we all need some fat in our diets. It helps you absorb some vitamins, provides us with energy, protects our organs, and supports cell growth. Fats can also keep you feeling satisfied and full for longer. And there are many types of fats in the foods we eat. Some fats are more harmful to your bodies than others. So firstly, we have saturated fats. So saturated fats are the biggest culprits in raising our LDL cholesterol, which also indirectly increases our risk of heart disease. And where can we find saturated fats? That we can find them in animal products mostly, so including in our dairy products, so like our butter, cream, whole milk. We can find saturated fats in our cheese and red meat, bacon, sausage, and coconut butter. Next, on the other hand, we have unsaturated fats, which are often regarded as healthier than saturated fats, although like any fat, they should be consumed in moderation. So when used in place of saturated fats, unsaturated fats have the potential to lower your total blood cholesterol and LDL levels. So what's the takeaway for fats? We don't want to be afraid of fats, right? We do need some fats in our diet. We just want to choose our plant-based fats or unsaturated fats more often. We want to limit our saturated fats or directly substitute saturated fats with unsaturated fats. And where can we find unsaturated fats? In our olive oil, canola oil, avocado oil, sunflower oil, nuts and seeds, as well as avocado. As mentioned, saturated fats come from animal-based products, such as red meat and dairy products. So recommendations are to limit your intake of red meat to once or twice per week. And when choosing dairy products, look for 1 or 2% milk products, or just ones that are less than 3.25% milk fat. All right, so soy and flax are popular remedies, natural remedies for menopause, acting as phytoestrogens. So plant compounds that mimic estrogen to, in theory, help reduce hot flashes, night sweats, and hormonal fluctuations. There are a limited number of studies that assess the effectiveness of soy foods to alleviate vasomotor and urogenital symptoms. In particular, there was a double-blind randomized controlled trial published by the Journal of the Menopause Society that revealed that neither dietary flaxseed nor soy flour significantly affected menopause-specific quality of life or hot flash symptoms in this study. And so flax and soy are nonetheless nutritious and can still be included as part of a balanced diet. So spicy foods are a common trigger for hot flashes and night sweats because they raise body temperature and stimulate heat receptors, which exacerbate symptoms. Caffeine has also been shown to exacerbate hot flashes, night sweats, and overall menopausal symptoms. And so recommendations are to limit your intake of caffeine to less than 400 milligrams per day. And so for reference, 1 cup of brewed coffee is about 100 to 170 milligrams of caffeine. Right, so shifting gears now, we'll talk a little bit about calcium. So calcium is a mineral that's needed to build strong bones and teeth, Calcium also helps blood to clot normally, muscles and nerves to function properly, and the heart to beat normally. Most of the calcium in your body is actually found inside your bones. So if you don't get enough calcium through your diet, your body takes calcium from your bones, therefore putting you at risk of osteoporosis or the weakening or thinning of bones. So recommendations for calcium for premenopausal and menopausal women are a bit higher. So we want to aim for about 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day. And so the best sources of calcium we see on the screen here are dairy-rich foods, including milk, yogurt, cheese, and plant-based milks. There are also non-dairy sources of calcium. We find this in our dark leafy green vegetables, dried beans and peas, canned salmon with soft bones, as well as sardines. And sometimes calcium supplements are used to help meet this daily calcium goal, if we're not big dairy eaters. And firstly, there are calcium carbonate supplements, which are best absorbed with food, so they have to be taken with a meal, as well as calcium citrate supplements, which can be taken anytime. Calcium is also found in most multivitamin and mineral supplements. And to maximize absorption of calcium, it's recommended to take no more than 500 to 600 milligrams of elemental calcium at one time, as we found that higher doses of calcium can actually become inefficient. For menopausal and postmenopausal women, the recommended daily vitamin D intake is generally 600 to 800 international units. And vitamin D is not found in many foods. However, you can still find vitamin D in the foods listed here on the slide. So cow's milk, fortified soy and rice beverages, fatty fish like salmon and sardines, as well as some fortified orange juice, egg yolk, or fortified yogurts. Vitamin B12 is an essential micronutrient that is needed for many bodily processes, and many of its deficiency signs match those of the menopausal transition. So it's really important to determine if your symptoms are deficiency related or not. And for vitamin D, my recommendation is it's best to speak with your physician to discuss whether vitamin B supplementation is needed. All right, so now we'll get into talking a little bit about some digestive issues. So fluctuating hormones at menopause may contribute to gas, bloating, feeling sluggish, or having a sluggish digestion, which can lead to more difficulty with regular bowel routines and constipation. So some recommendations to alleviate these digestive symptoms are to firstly eat at regular times. Okay, so whether that looks like eating, aiming to eat every 4 to 6 hours and eating within 2 hours of waking up. Adequate intakes of fiber, both soluble and insoluble fiber, can help to alleviate symptoms as well, as we talked about in the beginning. And lastly, ensuring that you're hydrated. So, a quick check is to check if your urine color, your pee color is the color of lemonade or it's more clear. All right, so when it comes to weight management, you commonly hear that it is a simple matter of balancing energy in, so your calories consumed from food and beverage, with balancing energy out, right? So it's calories in, calories out. However, in real life terms, weight management and maintaining our weight can be far from simple. So your genes, your metabolism, certain diseases or medications, behaviors, environment, and culture, as well as age and gender, these can all influence what you eat, how active you are, and how your body balances this food and activity. So we want to remember that weight is very complex. Within the menopausal transition, we normally see that fat accumulates around the midsection, and this is happening due to hormonal and metabolism changes. And on average, women gain about 4 4 to 4.5 pounds during perimenopause. So studies show that a slow metabolism is rarely the main cause of becoming overweight or obese. However, consuming too few calories and losing muscle mass while trying to lose weight can actually further slow down your metabolism. And so we lose, on average, about 3 to 8% of our muscle mass per decade. So this is when protein becomes important as we age. So we want to aim for about 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. So this could look like 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram body weight. And so for reference, a small chicken breast that fills about the palm of your hand has about 18 to 20 grams of protein. And on the topic of weight gain and weight management as well, how much you sleep and the quality of your sleep can silently affect your hormone activity, which we know is one of those factors that might make it harder for us to maybe to keep our weight stable or may cause weight gain. And so there's two hormones of importance. So leptin is a hormone that is produced by fat cells to signal fullness. Okay, so it sends a signal to our brain when we're full. And ghrelin is a hormone that is produced in the stomach to stimulate appetite. And so when you don't get enough sleep, or we have disrupted sleep or irregular sleep, our leptin levels decrease. And so we don't feel as satisfied after eating. And our ghrelin levels increase, resulting in an increased appetite. So the two combined can really set the stage for overeating, which may lead to weight gain. At the end of the day, there is no perfect way to eat. This is taken from the Canada's Food Guide, and we we want to try to fill half of our plate with our non-starchy vegetables and fruits. We want to try to fill a quarter of our plate with lean proteins, so things like our chicken, fish, lean cuts of pork, our plant-based proteins, or our dairy products like our cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, as well as eggs. And then the other quarter of our plate, we want to fill that with our whole grains. And so meals may not always look like this, right? It might not always be this perfect looking. It might be a mixed dish, right? It might be a curry or a stew or a shepherd's pie. And so the bottom line for those mixed dishes is that with each scoop or each of our portions, we want to include plenty of vegetables, a lean protein, and a starch or a whole grain. And so in my practice, I talk a lot about the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, you want to be conscious of your dietary intake and habits and, try our best to follow a heart-healthy diet and heart-healthy recommendations. But 20% of the time, it is okay to indulge in moderation, which results in that long-term consistency. So I'd like to leave you with a few resources because as I said at the beginning, nutrition can be confusing. We have so much information always available. So there's a few resources here. So unlockfood.ca is a website that's run by dietitians. And so here we can find lots of recipes and information. We have the Heart and Stroke Foundation or heartandstroke.ca, osteoporosis.ca, Dietitians of Canada. We also know Diabetes Canada has a lot of great resources, as well as the Heart Institute. We have a healthy section eating or healthy eating section there that you can find some videos like a Nutrition 101 and Nutrition 201, as well as some other links to some sites. So I hope that this short session was helpful and have a great day. Thanks so much.